Good morning. You're watching News for Hearing Impaired. I'm Preeti. With me is Meera. First, the headlines. The new guidelines of the Union Home Ministry for the extended lockdown till 17th of May to come into effect from today. Guidelines allow easing of many restrictions in green and orange zones in several states, including opening of shops selling non-essential goods. Red zones continue to have restrictions. Centre writes to the states saying movement of only stranded people has been allowed and not of those residing normally at places other than native places for purposes of work. Inter-district movement within the state continues to remain restricted. Union Health Minister Dr. Vardhan says India has achieved a major milestone by crossing 1 million COVID-19 tests while clocking over 74,000 tests per day. Says the government has distributed around 20 lakh PPE kits all over India and supplied medicines to more than 100 countries world over. Union Health Ministry deploys central public health teams to assist 10 state health departments in COVID-19 management. Teams to assist in implementation of containment measures in the affected areas of 20 districts. Active COVID-19 cases across India rise to 28,070 with 10,886 patients cured and discharged. Death toll reaches 1,306. And coronavirus cases continue to spiral up across the world. Infections worldwide crossed 35 lakh with over 2.47 lakh deaths. The United States remains worst hit with over 67,000 fatalities. The central government on Friday issued guidelines for extended lockdown restrictions after classifications of district into red, orange and green zones based on COVID-19 risk profiling. During the extended period of lockdown, individual vehicles allowed only for permitted activities with a maximum of 2 persons in 4-wheelers, while 2-wheelers are allowed without a pillion rider. In case of industrial activities, manufacturing units of essential goods, drugs, pharmaceuticals, medical devices are allowed to operate. Workplaces need to follow social distancing guidelines with staggered shifts. Construction activities in urban areas limited to in-site construction. Shops in urban areas for non-essential goods cannot operate in malls, market and market complexes. However, standalone shops, neighborhood shops and shops in residential complexes are permitted to remain open. E-commerce activities are permitted for essential goods. Private offices can operate with up to 33% of strength. Plying of cycle rickshaws, autos, taxis remains prohibited in the red zones. The activities that will continue to remain prohibited across the country, irrespective of the zones, for a period of 2 weeks with effect from 4th of May. These include all domestic and international air travel of passengers except for medical services, air ambulance and for security purposes or for purposes permitted by the MHA. All passenger movement by trains except for security purposes or for purposes as permitted by the MHA, interstate buses for public transport except those permitted by the MHA. The local authority shall ensure 100% coverage of Arogya Setu app among the residents of the containment zones, besides other restrictions. The third phase of nationwide lockdown has begun with considerable relaxations across the national capital, Delhi. However, curbs will continue in the containment areas. The Delhi government on Sunday announced that it will be implementing all lockdown relaxations proposed by the Ministry of Home Affairs from 4th of May. As per the latest guidelines, Delhi government offices engaged in essential services will function with full strength while private offices can operate with up to 33% strength. However, suspension of travel by flight, metro and buses will continue in the national capital. Schools, malls, gyms and social, political, cultural and sports gatherings will also remain banned. Delhi on Sunday registered its highest single-day spike in coronavirus cases with 427 new infections. However, no fresh death due to COVID-19 was reported. Just as lockdown 3.0 comes into play from today onwards, in Chandigarh, the COVID-19 curfew has been partially relaxed. The city was under curfew since March 23rd midnight. However, the nationwide lockdown will prevail in the city with some relaxations. Chandigarh still has 130 red zone districts. Movement will be allowed from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The internal standalone shops will be open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on odd-even system. Shops selling essentials like groceries, vegetables, medicines will be open on all days. Liquor shops will be open. Distribution of fruits and vegetables by government buses will continue. Earlier, vehicles were not allowed, but now people will be able to use their vehicles. In another major decision, the containment zone in the city will be restricted to the pockets identified and notified by the Union Territory from where cases have been reported. The Union Territory will conduct an intensive screening and testing of all cases within the containment pockets. All Sampark centers will be open from May 11th and all government offices and private offices will be functional as per the norms fixed by the Ministry of Home Affairs. People can now visit hospitals and clinics during the permissible time. Lockdown restrictions which will prevail in the city will be that people have to wear masks while moving out and observe social distancing. Restaurants, eating joints, apni mandis, big shopping malls and complexes such as Sector 17 market, shops on roads, separating sectors and delivery of cooked food by online agencies will be closed. Maharashtra government has meanwhile decided to lift the lockdown restrictions in the state in a zone-wise manner. Now, according to the government notification, shops selling non-essential commodities will be allowed to open from today in the COVID-19 non-containment zones across the state, even in the red zones. Only 5 non-essential shops in one lane will be allowed to operate during the entire day. However, the restriction is not applicable to shops selling essential items such as medicines and groceries. Sale of liquor in standalone shops will be allowed, but social distancing norms have to be followed. Timing of opening for all shops can be decided by local authorities on their level as per the situation. Maharashtra is one of the worst affected states in the country. It is also one of the first states to have reported COVID-19 cases. Maharashtra has categorized Mumbai Metropolitan Region, that is MMR, Pune Metropolitan Region, that is PMR, and Malegaon regions ahead of the other red zones in the state. Now, these places are marked as even more sensitive than the red zones. Union Health Minister Dr. Vardhan yesterday paid a visit to Lady Hardinge Hospital in New Delhi to check the health facilities available at the hospital. The Union Health Minister visits hospitals every Sunday to have a check on the medical facilities. While addressing media, the minister said that the capacity of fighting with coronavirus is improving day by day. India has achieved a major milestone by crossing 1 million COVID-19 tests while clocking over 74,000 tests per day. The government has distributed around 20 lakh PPE kits all over India and supplied machines to more than 100 countries world over.
और 111 प्राइवेट लैब ये देश में हम विकसित कर चुके हैं। कल हमने 1 मिलियन टेस्ट यानी 10 लाख टेस्ट जो है इसके आंकड़े को पार करा देश में, और खाली एक अकेले दिन के अंदर लगभग 74,000 के करीब हमने टेस्ट किए। ये अपने आप में एक भारी सफलता है। जिस देश में पीपीई और N95 मास्क जो है बाहर से इंपोर्ट करना पड़ता था। आज एक दिन में हम 2 लाख से ज़्यादा PPEs जो है वो भारत में बना रहे हैं। कल हमने 2 लाख से ज़्यादा PPE जो है वो रिसीव किए मैन्युफैक्चर होने के बाद भारत में, और उनको सारे देश को डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किया। 50 लाख से ज़्यादा N95 मास्क हम देश को बांट चुके हैं। 20 लाख से ज़्यादा PPE किट्स हम देश को बांट चुके हैं। और जो हाइड्रोक्सी क्लोरोक्विन जैसी दवाई है, पैरासीटामोल जैसी दवाइयां हैं, ये दुनिया के 99 देशों को हमने सप्लाई की हैं।
As many as 20 central public health teams from Ministry of Health and Family Welfare have been formed and are being sent to the 20 districts that are reporting maximum number of COVID-19 cases in the country. The centre has deployed 20 public health teams to assist 10 states in the fight against COVID-19. Each team, consisting of 2 members, will assist the states in the COVID-19 management. 20 central public health teams have been deployed across 20 districts in 10 states, while 3 teams each will be sent to Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra and Gujarat. 2 teams each have been earmarked for Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. 1 team each will go to Telangana, Tamil Nadu and West Bengal. The team shall report to senior state government officials and assist state health departments in implementation of containment measures for COVID-19 in the affected areas within the designated areas. These teams shall be deployed till further orders and will submit reports to senior officials of the respective states. The Ministry of Home Affairs has allowed movement of migrant workers, students, pilgrims who are stranded in different parts of the country. Home Secretary Ajay Bhalla yesterday wrote the letter to Chief Secretaries of the states clarifying that the order regarding movement of persons amid lockdown is not extended to those categories of persons who are otherwise residing normally at places other than native places for purposes of work, and those who wish to visit their native place in normal course. Security forces yesterday neutralized 2 terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir's Handwara district. However, 5 security personnel were martyred in the encounter. Based on intelligence inputs, that terrorists were taking the civilian inmates of a house in Changimul in Handwara of Kupwara district as hostages. A joint operation was launched by Army and Jammu and Kashmir Police on 2nd May. The team of Army and Jammu and Kashmir Police entered the target area and successfully extricated the civilians. However, during the process, the team was subject to heavy volume of firing by the terrorists. Commanding officer Colonel Ashutosh Sharma, Major Anuj Sood, Naik Rajesh Kumar, Lance Naik Dinesh Singh and Jammu and Kashmir police personnel were martyred in the fire. Condoling the martyrdom of the security personnel in an encounter with terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that their valor and sacrifice will never be forgotten. In a tweet, Prime Minister said, and I quote him, "Tributes to our courageous soldiers and security personnel martyred in Handwara. Their valor and sacrifice will never be forgotten. They served the nation with utmost dedication and worked tirelessly to protect our citizens. Condolences to their families and friends." Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh has said that the loss of soldiers in security personnel in Handwara is deeply disturbing and painful. In a series of tweets, the Raksha Mantri said, and I quote him, "The loss of our soldiers and security personnel in Handwara is deeply disturbing and painful. They showed exemplary courage in their fight against terrorists and made supreme sacrifice while serving the country. We will never forget their bravery and sacrifice. I offer my tributes to the soldiers and security personnel who fell in action. My heart goes out to the families who lost their loved ones. Today, India stands shoulder to shoulder with the families of these brave martyrs." Union Home Minister Amit Shah also paid tributes to the 5 security personnel who were martyred in Handwara encounter. The Home Minister said that the entire country will remain indebted to the supreme sacrifice made by them. The World Health Organization has said that the novel coronavirus originated in nature. Speaking on a television show, WHO COVID-19 technical lead Maria Van Kerkhove said that compared to other coronavirus genetic sequences available, COVID-19 is of a natural origin coming from bats.
Compared to other coronavirus sequences that are available, this is of a natural origin. And it originally comes from bats because the coronaviruses come from bats. What we need to do is really understand what we call the intermediate host. What is the animal that was infected from bats that potentially infected humans? It's important that we know this because from a public health point of view, it's very important that we find the animal host so that we prevent this, we call spillover, from an animal, transmission from an animal to a human.
In the United States, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has said that his state would join a consortium of 7 Northeast states to purchase medical equipment required to treat the COVID-19 patients. Cuomo said that coming together as a team would allow them to be more competitive with suppliers who sell to the highest bidders, which typically tends to be the governments of countries. New York is still hardest hit by the coronavirus. It will require hospitals to have a 90-day stockpile of personal protective equipment in case of another outbreak, as Governor Cuomo announced. The U.S. has reported more than 11,57,600 cases of coronavirus so far, and the death toll in the U.S. tops with 67,000. Activities in California's Orange County came out carrying U.S. and Trump 2020 flags and posters to register their protest demanding the governor, Gavin Newsom, to reopen beaches days after he closed them because crowds defied public health guidelines to throng the popular shoreline last weekend. Orange County has confirmed more than 2,630 cases of the virus, with 52 deaths from it. Florida witnessed the nation's first socially distanced boat parade in support of a presidential candidate. Boaters carrying U.S. flags and Make America Great banners hit South Florida's intercoastal waterway to showcase their support for President Donald Trump. Now, this is the first weekend that boating has been allowed after weeks of closure due to the novel coronavirus pandemic. The state is closely watched as it is considered a battleground state in the presidential elections. The death toll in Italy from novel coronavirus has crossed 28,880, while there are more than 21,710, that is 2,10,710 cases of infection in the country. From Monday, some restriction measures are being lifted in the country. People will be able to leave their homes more freely, and more workplaces and parks will be allowed to reopen, provided they can meet social distancing rules, but most shops will stay shut until May 18th. Schools, cinemas, theatres, museums and hairdressers remain shut and will be reopened at staggered future dates. In UAE's business and tourism hub Dubai, some of the malls, dine-in restaurants and cafes have partially resumed operations with limited capacity. Despite the relaxation on malls and restaurants, shoppers have been reluctant to return, with many residents also fasting during the holy month of Ramadan. Abu Dhabi, UAE's capital, also announced reopening of 3 malls with 30% capacity after adopting safety measures, including installing thermal inspection devices. However, other public venues such as schools, mosques and cinemas remain closed in the UAE, which has so far reported nearly 13,600 confirmed cases of the virus and 119 deaths from the virus. That's it in this edition of the news this hour. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.